All hail the mighty goat crab.
It's the Andy and Remington Steel Show on your screens tonight. It's the Andy and Remington Steel Show for your home delight. We're talking about Age of Sigmar and anything else that is cool. Talking about Warhammer fantasy, it's easy to learn the rules. Andy and Remington, Andy and Remington, Andy and Remington Show.
Welcome, one and all, to yet another enthralling installment of the Andy and Rem Show, episode 137, The Revenge of the Goat Crab. Rumour has it it's Remington's favourite miniature ever. See whether that is true or not. Move the thumbnail. See face of Remington. Is that true? Is the Goat Crab your favourite miniature GW have ever come out with?
It's like the worst miniature.
Well, that's going to be a controversial talking point fairly soon then when we get to that. But first, welcome to our wonderful audience, all the spicy members that we've got down there already. Hopefully that number will continue to swell throughout the evening. We sink our fangs into the succulent juices of the latest goings on, specifically in the world of Age of Sigmar, but also GW as a whole, and occasionally wargaming itself as a whole if there's some major breaking news. But the most important piece of news this week is that the Redbubble store has had prices slashed for the festive season. So if any of your loved ones would appreciate a full Andy and Rem Show bedspread or a shower curtain, now is the time. Open your wallet, open your hearts. Now, you're not looking very festive there, Mr. Remington. I've got my festive attire on here, as everyone can plainly see.
Well, I am celebrating because it is the end of the most miserable month of the year, that being November. And it was actually a clear, bright and fresh day, so I thought I would celebrate by wearing my Barley vest. I'm going to wear this for the show. What do you think about that?
We'll see what the audience think about that. I think they prefer a bit of festivity, and my surroundings are going to get slowly more festive over the next few weeks as we head up to Christmas. So you can look forward to that, and I'm sure Mr. Remington will eventually add maybe a bit of tinsel danglage to his miniature cabinet in the background there, just to get with the spirit. His blinds don't need any tinkering this week, which is a rarity. Impressive work
ready,
there.
mate. I've got my guns ready. I'm all ready to roll. Ready for Witch Coven, even later on. Going to be great.
Yeah, is it going to be better than Witch Coton?
Witch Coton is the follow-up, I think, if it gets that far. Bear in mind, we've got to do a poll, actually. I could do with us doing a poll. Which adventure, game, fantasy, role play do you like best? Did you like best? Do you like best? Would it be the Forest of Rem or Witch Coven? I know which one I like best, and I think it's no surprise which one I would guess. What about you, Andy?
Well, I would say that they each have their pros and cons. The pros of the Forest of Rem, of course, I run it. The pro of Witch Coven, of course, is that I am the lead character in it. And I think the audience can work out for themselves what the cons are for each of them.
That's interesting logic there. I would argue that, very, very comparable to two very highly anticipated events in the Warhammer calendar, that being Andy Palooza and RemCon. And Andy Palooza is where you might find the Forest of Rem. somewhat as the warm-up activity, the warm-up event thing for when people arrive, but the main event, obviously, is Witch Coven and, RemCon. So that's what we'll be doing post-lockdown, Andy. It's time to make plans
Well,
already.
rumour has it that even before the pandemic is anywhere near concluded, for the 3 or 4 days surrounding Christmas, RemCon is actually going to go ahead. Because as you know, the government guidelines say that you can have up to 3 households mingling together, and that was pretty much the entire RemCon ticket sales anyway. So, you should be fine with that.
Interesting.
Andy Palooza, of course, is far too vast an event to be contained by such small numbers, so to wait on
Andy
that one.
Palooza is cheap, though. It is cheap to get in. I'll give it that. It's the budget sort of festive event in the Warhammer calendar for
We
those.
prefer the term inclusive. Okay, shall we look at some stuff now? Because
Let's look at
you
some
sent me
stuff.
this. You sent me this picture before the show, and I thought, you know what? I'm not even going to ask you what's going on here, but it looks like an audiobook that you're part way through listening to. So, you want to tell us about this?
Yes, I am. Is that 2 minutes 46 I'm into? Or is it? I
It
can't.
looks
I
like you're
don't know.
1 hour 2 minutes 46 into it.
Wow,
Is that what it
that
says?
went that went quick. I think I might have been driving when I put that on. Yeah, it's Lumineth Realm Lords novel, and it's an audiobook. And I signed up to Audible, and I get a free book each month, free credit to buy a free book each month, and it's like £8 a month. And I've built up a few credits now because I'm still listening to all my stocks and shares audiobooks. On how to be a millionaire, all that kind of thing.
How
And
to
I
hold
thought,
onto your stocks foolishly and watch them tumble.
and I, and I thought, well, maybe it's time for some light entertainment. Maybe I should spend one of my credits on a Age of Sigmar fantasy audiobook, and it was a toss up between Realm Lords and Gotrek and Felix Omnibus
Ooh.
Part 3, which was amazing because I read the book. I thought that would make light and good dedicated entertainment, and it's something like 12-hour audiobook. So that's like 6 journeys to Nottingham there and back. But anyway, I went for Realm Lords, and I'm in chapter 1, and it's okay. It's quite tasty. It is weird, the concept of elves having double-handed hammers, though. That is, I can't quite get my head round why slinky, slender, tall elven folk would wield unwieldy, heavy, brutey, and flat-headed hammers. Doesn't make sense to me yet, but maybe it will.
Well,
It's quite interesting.
rather than using the hammers for some kind of big, some really difficult task like a dwarf would, for instance, like knocking down a wall, let's say, an elf would rather use one to play croquet, perhaps.
Yeah, I could see elves playing croquet with them. Yeah, for sure. But the background is that they're almost like Tibetan like warrior monks. They're like keep themselves away, and they're in tune with the mountain and the nature. And yeah, it's quite interesting, really. Meditation and cleansing the mind, and reason and logic and intuition are the hallmarks of the Lumineth Realm Lords. Even
Sounds like a very
uh,
relaxing audiobook then.
yeah, it's not too bad. They've just bumped into a Slaneshi war party, so that could be interesting. We've had some cool comments here. Forest of Rem has the superior hero, says Mickey Genver. That's a quite expert analysis there, Mickey. Andy Palooza never had people closer than 2 meters anyway, which is true, especially when you're in a 2 by 4 meter room. You only probably fit 2 people at Andy
Well,
Palooza.
Andy Palooza is such a wild party that you don't want to get that close to anyone else because everyone's so excited and just flailing around uncontrollably. It's the scorching entertainment on offer. Anything
Uh,
else to say on this audiobook?
yeah, I'll let you know more as I get past chapter 1.
So that's going to be our new weekly segment,
Yeah,
Remington's audiobook voyage.
Yeah, well, I
We need a
thought,
name for it, this segment.
I think a lot of people don't think I'm into the hobby enough, but just want to show you that I am, and I do check stuff now and then. So, mm.
Okay, what have we got next? Oh, well, that's a bit of a grotesque visage greeting us there.
Ooh,
So, let's have a quick look because obviously Sigvald is officially upon us now. We had an entire show dedicated to his magnificent succulence, and there's some fresh textual nuggets here, and some nice pictures as well, and a good look at his buddies. And we decided that we quite liked these ones. Weren't so sure on the stretch face, strange cat people though.
I like the stretch face. It's very Hollywood.
And then this though is what's really grabbed my attention.
Mm.
It's not just a goat. It's not just a crab. It's a goat crab.
God. So you got three amazing miniatures there. You've got like an Arabic looking sort of belly dancer sort of character there, and one with a bow, and then a stalwarty champion with a. And then they put this goat thing in there that's just like someone's got the bits box and just stuck a load of shit together.
It kind of looks like this leg here is wearing a thigh-high studded boot with a hoof on the end.
I mean, the thing is, Slanesh is supposed to be all about desire and, eroticism, desire, and, tempting lust and everything. I mean, whoever fell in love with a crab?
Is
Or,
this is this a sneak preview of where Andy the Ungor is headed?
what, into into the clutches of a crab's.
No, turning
Maw?
slowly into this as he ventures further into the witch coven.
Well, it could happen, Andy. It could happen because you're already in the guise of a sort of elf, but really you're just a mindless beast man Ungor. So this could easily happen if the spell starts to lose its effect.
Could
Yeah.
easily see some crab hands in there.
Whoever thought though, I'd really like to get a bit crabby tonight. That will turn people on.
In gaming terms, though, the crab hand, the pincer of death, has been a mainstay, especially in Slanesh. Think
Well,
back to the old classic demonettes with the big gigantic crab claws.
yeah, true, but I'm just saying, it's just like even that, it's like it's not a very tempting touch, is it? The cold, hard, crustaceous shell of a crab isn't really going to lure anyone in, I feel.
Batzuka says Slanesh wanted furry and crustacean representation.
Why?
Why not?
Don't
Do
get
you know
it.
what it really needs, though? It needs someone to convert it so the crab claw has a knife. Have you seen that clip of the crab with the knife?
No.
Oh, well, there's something for you to look up. You must have had a very sheltered life not to have seen that. But yeah, it needs a knife. Put the sword in the crab claw hand and have the regular hand just waving the fist.
Well, I take it as you're defending this miniature, you like it.
I think it's pretty cool actually, and we get another angle on it in a minute. I don't know if it's in this article or another one. But let's keep scrolling for now and we'll come back to the goat crab shortly. Because there'll be more to come. So, let's see. How about this? So, this looks all nice and green. What's going on with this particular GW
Well,
stock image?
as you've done this in the wrong order, Andy, but never mind.
This
I
is the
suppose
order you sent them to me.
God. Okay, look, this is the good news. All right. The good news is if you look at the yearly stock chart of Games Workshop, you can see that we've had a phenomenal run where, at the very lowest point this year was at COVID crash, March the 21st or something like that, where the stock price hit something like £35 a share at one point, maybe for a few hours, £35 a share. and it's rocketed back up to all-time highs of 120, tripling its value. So in the macro scheme of things, you can see that Games Workshop is a winner. Now that dotted line you see, that's where Remington bought his shares. So you can see I'm having pretty phenomenal returns, 51%. 2 weeks ago, it was as high as 93%. Last Tuesday, the stocks took a massive hit, and Games Workshop shares went right down, almost touching £92 a share. But I held firm. In fact, I bought one share.
At what point did you buy one share? Is that when it was right at this
Yeah, it was
this
below
crevice here?
100. It was below £100. I thought I'm averaging up. I'm going to buy one extra share. So now I've got 11 shares, which is obviously averaged up my average price, okay, and my percentage return. But still, I'm very confident this stock will rebound back after a bumper Christmas season, and we'll be seeing those highs of 120 very soon, perhaps in our rear mirrors. That's what I'm
Because
banking
if
on
you look at
anyway.
this, yeah, obviously up close, it doesn't look great here. Very bumpy ride with a bit of a
Mm.
downward trend. But then, like you
Yeah, that's
said,
the monthly view.
yeah, when you
That's the
look at
best.
this one,
Mm.
there are there are a lot more positives when you look at it this way.
Yeah, if you showed that to anyone, you'd say, which direction is this chart headed? And you would say, in general, it's going up, right? So, like, I don't know, what's that?
You know,
45-degree angle?
I think people
Yeah.
really appreciate this segment because it's one of the few times that you can actually see people analysing charts that aren't to do with COVID rates nowadays.
Hmm.
So I think people like this segment.
Just bear in mind, guys, no one else talks about Games Workshop stock. Only us. Andy and Rem show. You see it here first. You see us, taking big chances, taking risks on our hobby and showing our devotion to it. Right? So look, that's the monthly chart. You can see it's in a downward trend monthly, but the macro trend is telling us things are generally good. And even though we've been locked down for one whole month in the UK, we're coming out of lockdown tomorrow-ish. Shops are going to be open. I'm going to be headed back to the stores. I'm going to be buying stuff. Stuff on Games Workshop website is sold out. Maybe we can have a look at that in a bit. So it's going to be a mega season. So the only way is up. And that is what what's the face sang in about 1988.
Next,
Yaz.
discover the story of Warhammer Underworld's dire chasm. Well, there you can see Goatee McCrabbington is up there, taking part in a bit of a hex-based battle against various other creatures. Shadespire, Nightvault, Beastgrave. Each season of Warhammer Underworlds takes the fight to a new arena, from the mist-shrouded streets of the Mirrored City to the deepest caverns of the Living Mountain, region known as Dire Chasm. Today we're taking a look at the lore of the latest season with a video to set the mood, which we're not going to watch. But it's worth looking into if you're a fan of Warhammer Underworld in general. Now, how do you feel about Warhammer Underworlds being the overriding title and then them having a new, totally different name for each season? I feel like the big part of the logo here is clearly the word Diachasm. So I think that's the game system. Originally, the first one was Shadespire, wasn't it? So I
Yeah.
still think of the game as being called Shadespire, kind of, because I've not been following it very closely, rather than Warhammer Underworlds. Did you think it's a bit of a marketing flub on their part?
Um, do the rules change, or they just introduce new boards?
I
And
think they just introduced new stuff, but if it's going to be just called Warhammer Underworld, I would make that the starring part of the title. And then the subtitle clearly as the subtitle. I don't know how you feel about that, because
I
someone
don't really
looking at
care.
it, someone who maybe played Shadespire might look at this and not realise it's a continuation of the same game system. It's just my thoughts.
Well, appreciate your thoughts, Andy, but I don't really care. I think that's fine, man. It's good. I've got a question. What happened to the Kurnothi? They're the only faction in Warhammer Underworlds which don't have an army? Have a think about that for a bit. Right, we've got Lumineth Realm Lords there. We've got Slanesh Mortal, Slanesh Demons. You know, we've got different kind of orcs, and we've got Moonclan Gruts. Even got like a dark elfy thing, but there's nothing for Kunofe. You know, that's an army I might be interested in, but hey,
Shall I
only if
read a
they'll
little
get
bit
their
out
own.
here?
Go
Just to
on
give
then.
people a little bit of the spice. Dire Chasm is the name for the tunnels and chambers that have opened at the mountain's roots as Beastgrave stirs from its eons-long slumber. The impenetrable amber that blocked the way into these abyssal reaches has begun to liquefy. New chambers have been revealed that drip with sticky resin, and they're filled with both dangers and fresh opportunities for those warbands brave enough to venture into their depths. Has that little tidbit grabbed you by the taste buds and pulled you towards dire chasm?
Not really, no, not really. Yeah, does it interest you?
Not really, but I do like this guy with the owl. Have we seen that miniature? Did we
I like him.
did we skim past that? There he is. There. I think we'll be able to get a close up of him. If not this week, there'll be close-ups in the future. But I do like that owl.
I like the wizards in this faction. They look great, man.
The ones
I
that
think
aren't carrying giant hammers, you mean?
the bows look silly. I can't get my head around those. And maybe like a triple strong bow for like a leader or champion, but for like normal foot troops to have a triple strong bow, I don't get it. Would you
Well, I'm
put
sure.
three
I'm sure.
arrows
Last
in it?
time we discussed these triple strongbows, someone in the chat told us that it's not really logical in the world of physics to do that. I wouldn't really know though. There's probably some expert engineers in the chat again that could explain to us what's wrong with a triple strongbow and what is the optimum number of strings for a bow, and whether there are any circumstances in which 3 strings would be preferable. Any engineers or budding engineers out there, let us know now or in the comments after the show. Greatly appreciate it.
Well, listen, Andy, if you collected high elves and you saw these Lumineth Realm Lords, I think generally speaking, you'd be happy. You know?
They haven't strayed too wildly far from the high elf aesthetic, so if you have an existing collection of high elves that you've put on their nice round bases, you could team them up with some of the Lumineth quite happily, and as long as you paint them in a similar scheme, they would not look out of place. Most of them just look like a special high elf unit.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's a fair assessment.
Mm-hmm. I think they could have stretched themselves to 5 miniatures. Yeah, you know, instead of just 4. Just saying.
Mickey says if you want your bow to double up as a harp. You see that quite often, don't you, in cartoons? A harp will be used inadvertently as a bow, or something will bounce off a harp.
Mm.
As a musical instrument expert, what is the ranged weapon potential of a string instrument?
Well, to get a tuned note, it has to be strung quite tightly. So if it's obviously too tight, it'd be very difficult to pull the bow back to effectively shoot it, especially at a distance. So it's all about tension, length and tension.
If you had a few minutes, would you be able to set up one of your guitars so that it could propel an arrow through the air, do you think?
No.
Well, there you go. Disappointing answer, but possibly the one I expected. Next, unleash your war cry. New tomes and quests await. So,
Okay. Well, yeah.
5 new books for Warcry. And order, destruction, death, chaos. And 4. Where's the other one? Death, chaos, order, destruction, and the Tome of Champions. So, pretty exciting if you're a fan of this particular game system. And obviously, Remington and I are veterans of countless games. By that I mean it would take no time to count them because we haven't played it.
I'd like to play it though. Hey, Andy, do you know I sent you a text at 7:52 saying what time is the show, and you didn't reply to me?
Let me see. So you did. Well, I didn't check my phone after that point.
Hmm.
So it's lucky that you remembered the time of the show, isn't it? But apparently the giant up now. Picture of it. The Mega Gargant.
He looks
Be able to join forces with a rival to take on a terrifying monstrous foe such as a Mega Gargant. So you won't be able to use this to flatten your enemies. You'll be teaming up to try and bring it down, and I imagine some quite interesting special rules there. Just noticed that they've only got 4 toes. Interesting, like a Simpsons giant. Well, there you go. Warcry stuff. Don't know much about it. This is in-depth journalism is going to get on that system. Okay, now, this is obviously GW totally ripped us off with their rumour engine segment, and now they're the knife was already driven into our back, and now they're just twisting it. Because they've got the Advent engine, which is like a Christmas bumper edition of the rumour engine, but they do one rumour every single day in an Advent calendar fashion. And there is the first one, which is obviously some kind of shoe or foot. People speculating that it's a Sister of Battle leg.
Mhm.
Probably.
Looks 40k.
Well, we'll check back on it, and then each week we'll come in and we'll have a look at the days that have been revealed and see if we can spot anything vaguely interesting. I wouldn't bet on it, though. But it's clearly nothing compared to what the hell is that? The originator of the mind-boggling identification of miniature parts puzzle. So moving straight on from that. Warbands of the Mortal Realms. So, this is where we've got more pictures of Krabby McGoatson. There's the Lumineth with the big hammer, and look at the owl. Look at Owl Boy there.
You can't buy these on their own yet, can you? You have to buy the big box set.
I think so.
Right. Okay.
It's a nice set though, even just for this model and for the goat crab. I do like them. It's a very cool owl. There aren't enough owls in Warhammer. Owls are kind of a fantasy mainstay, but GW haven't had that many, have they? Can you think of models with owls on them?
Tree men.
Yeah, there's not many. There hasn't been an owl. There hasn't been an owl-heavy faction I can think of.
Are you getting any products for Christmas, Andy? Are you getting anything?
Who knows? See what Santa brings. But then, obviously, we've got a different angle on Goatee McCrabbington here.
He's really stealing all the limelight when it should be going to the belly dancers at the back. They look far more intriguing.
It kind of looks like something you would wear on a night out, doesn't it?
Proudly.
Yeah. Very flamboyant.
Very comfortable. Very swish.
Allows a lot of breathability.
Well, Andy, there's a question. Interested, G. Hello. What would you want for Christmas, Andy? Perhaps Man City to be in the top half of the table?
That would be nice.
What would you really like?
What would I really like? The ultimate Christmas gift. I think we should both think about that and answer it at the end of the show. What would be the ultimate wargaming Christmas gift? That'll be a nice end to the show. We can come up with a different one every week, in fact. How's that for a segment?
I want the gift that money can't necessarily buy. There's a riddle.
But we'll
Maybe
find
it
out.
can.
Find out what that is at the end
Hmm.
of the show then. Unless you've
Okay.
forgotten by then. So, Goatee McCrabbington gets a thumb up from me, thumbs down from Remington, so it's kind of a neutral thumb. Owl Boy gets a thumb up from me. Does he get a thumb up from you as well? The owl?
Yeah, thumbs up.
Okay, so it's a full thumbs up for the owl. And Batzuka says, you just like the owl since they look like Bubo. That is true.
I love Bubo. Bubo the owl from Clash of the Titans.
Classic. Everyone's favourite / most hated because it's kind of annoying at the same time. Owl. It's the owl you love to hate, I think.
I like Bubo.
If the audience were a bit more negative towards that film, then it would end up being like the Jar Jar Binks Clash of the Titan.
Is the classic Clash of the Titans better than the remake?
I haven't seen the remake,
You
but
haven't?
no, but I would assume the original is better because it's one of the greats.
I don't get it. Why would you get an Australian actor to play a Greek hero? Like literally, no. I don't know, man. Yeah.
What do you think of this? It's dice.
What about them? Okay, Lumineth
They're
dice.
new. I would say the white ones are nice. You can actually see what the symbols are. The blue, speckly ones with the gold symbols are a big no from me, I'm afraid.
They look very Christmassy. They look a bit magic-y, don't they?
If they were
And
just
like
ornamental, that would be one thing. But as actual dice, I think you would struggle to see what any of those symbols are when they land.
you know the three. It's like three-pronged lightning. It's almost like bzzz. But then a three is actually a kind of a meh roll, isn't it?
The gold
Right.
ones, not sure on them either. There are a couple of the symbols that might look similar when they land.
What's the cross swords? What's the value of that?
Who knows?
Is that what number is that? Is it a 2?
I don't know if those dice even have numbers.
Right.
Red ones. So, oh my god, they're even worse. Okay, so the black speckly ones, even from here I can't see what those symbols are. And that's in the well-lit shot that they've presented us to sell you this product. So that's just bad, I'm afraid.
Andy, you really are a Christmas Grinch, ain't you?
But look at it.
You know, I've never heard
Can you
anyone
even
moan.
see? Can you see what those symbols are supposed to be?
Yeah, well, you get used to them after a while, won't you? Well,
I
actually,
don't think
mate,
so.
it's like you are the mardiest, grisliest gamer ever. You know what I mean? Like any other channel you go to, and they're like falling over themselves over Games Workshop products.
That's
and you
because
get
they're being
to you,
paid.
and you're like the Christmas Grinch, you know?
Well, I do like actually as far as readability goes, the ones with the white symbols on them, far easier to see. The plain black and red ones are all right, if a bit on the dark side. Both colours are dark. You'd want the red to be a bit lighter, perhaps, so the black stands out a bit more. But on these ones with the speckles, that is just madness. How did that get past anybody in any design phase? Multiple people must have okayed this. Anyway, next. Oh, it's a box. I guess they come in the box. Some tokens as well. Very nice, but they're not dice, so we're not interested. And more cards. Oh, we've got even more dice. We're just spoiled here. Okay, these ones aren't bad. The hardest to read look like these ones here. These kinds of shiny ones with the black symbols on. But they don't look too nightmarish. But it's just so simple. The formula for dice. You have light and you have dark. Easy to read. You don't make the symbols too weird and small and similar to each other. You don't have symbols on multiple sides that look in any way similar. And these red ones, for example, with the white spots and the white symbol there, that's how you do it. Silver ones, I'll give them that as well. That's quite a nice balance. These ones, edging towards no.
That should be the caption on your tombstone, shouldn't it?
What?
Andy 2D6, edging towards no.
I think that's
You know what I
harsh.
mean?
Okay, I'm going to be positive now. Look at these bad boys.
I like them. I like
You
the
can-
blue ones.
You can see every single number and every single symbol easily. So they know how to do it. They just choose not to most of the time. Is that one kind of turquoisey colour?
A nice colour. Is it teal? Is that
Something
teal or
like that.
turquoise?
But these are great. Stick to this set. And these ones aren't bad either. I'll let them off with this one as well. See, they've even gone for the speckly thing that ruined the other dice, but they've put a very bold pip system in place on top of it, so it stands out. So again, they know how to do it. These dice sets are clearly superior to the ones that we saw here. I mean, look at that monstrosity compared to that.
Yeah, that's a bit. Yeah. I've never seen anyone analyse dice as much as you, Andy. I mean,
We should do a
I mean,
full dice special where we analyse every single dice that GW make, and then a follow-up episode where we analyse the entire dice marketplace.
you should do that, and then don't invite me on that show. That would be awesome.
I could just invite you into the audience.
Sure.
I'm sure you'd tune in.
Really cool. I don't. Well, they must sell a whole bunch of dice, right? If they're making them.
They
That's
must.
boring, isn't it? Legions of Nagash. What do you get? A few skeletons and an old necromancer. Great, cool.
Yes. So we already had an episode on repackaging old models, though, didn't we?
Yeah, the Sylvaneth one's pretty good because I like those tree men things. You know, elves turn into trees. I like them.
Is it Burnoth hunters? They are. Is that it?
Yes, the ones with the bows. They look ridiculous. Why would trees need bows?
So they can shoot people.
Yeah, but they can just throw stuff. I mean, why would a tree ever need a bow and arrow? It's ridiculous. Silly.
Poor sap. Anyway, moving on. Nothing else on this page. What have we got next? The future of Warhammer Underworld. So, already seen this? No. This is the roadmap, which we don't really care about. There's lizards there.
Oh, wait. Yeah, lizards. And then, but what's that red one? People are saying it's vampire counts.
It looks like a vampire bat, certainly.
Yeah. What do you think the shadow is?
New vampire, maybe?
Ooh.
Yeah, that would be vaguely interesting, actually.
Yep, and the green one next to it, that looks like Savage Orcs.
It does.
Armor I used to have, and I bloody sold them, but they are.
What's
the blue one? What's the blue one? Is that the thingies? The fishmen?
The Deepkin?
Yeah.
Could be.
I'd be interested in that.
Yeah, we'll have to wait and see. We've got months and months to speculate wildly on this, though. So, anything else that's interesting? Yes, look at that. That's a cool model.
Was that a new model? I've not seen that.
I don't know if it's new. It probably
Oh,
is. I don't think I've seen it before.
that's really cool.
Mysterious Sphere. It looks like the little ball that Luke Skywalker trained with. The one that
It
shoots the
does,
lasers
yeah.
at him. Or it
It
could
does.
be like a Pokeball for summoning
Or
Pokemon
a
of
bit of,
the
a bit
mortal
of.
realms.
It looks like a Stegodon, poo. It's been hardened.
We should have that as a segment where we just take a miniature and we just make fun of it by saying it looks like a and then insert insult.
It would say you can't polish a turd, but you can spray it silver.
Could you do some Remington dusting on it as well?
Uh, it feels big enough. This looks like it's yeah. Yeah, so if that was a Croxigore champion, it would look sick, right? But it's just this little skinky thing, so
I think it's pretty cool actually.
yeah.
And that's that. And what have we got here? Oh, this is the final picture, and it's a bit of Remington handiwork.
Right, look at those. Look at that pro job there.
How many of
You know?
those have you done since last time?
That's it. I've done 5. Got 5 more to go. I haven't even built them yet. Because somebody said they weren't even gonna play Necromunda anymore after reading the rules.
It's not my fault the rulebook's impenetrable. And not because of the wording or anything, just the background. It's too. Not even the game fluff background, the background of the actual pages. It's too grainy and grey and it's annoying to read. Another thing that shouldn't have made it past the design stage. GW. Anyway,
Well, that's them anyway, and obviously awesome. But there you go. Are
we move on to some wildly popular segments now.
you not going to show my pygmies then?
I think you can show them on your own channel.
I can't show them on my own channel because I don't do stuff on it yet.
Well, I think you should.
I painted some pygmies, and Andy won't show them because he thinks they're too not PC. But they're from like 1985, and that they exist.
If you want to do a showcase on these old, vaguely racist miniatures on your own channel, then that's fine by me.
Well, I've had a bunch from the 80s, and I thought I'd paint them. So that is what it is.
They are very good paint jobs, I'll give you that. And you know what it's time for? It's time for everybody's second or third favourite segment, I would say. It's time for What the Hell Is That?
What the hell is that? What the hell is that? Is it a chaos dwarf or a vampire bear? Oh, what the hell is that? What the hell is that? Oh, what the hell is that? What the hell is that? Only Andy and Remington, Andy and Remy, Andy and Remington know. What the hell is that? What the hell is that? Is it Sigmar's beard or Neferata's hat? Oh, what the hell is that? Oh, what the hell is that? Is it a mangled squig or a sorcerer's rat? Only Andy and Remington! Andy and Remy, Andy and Remington know.
Hey everybody, it's time. What the hell is that? Last week, you were presented with a large miniature that others were hiding behind. So the only way we could possibly advance this particular arc would be to go for a Hydra. You like that? Hydra. There are 3 miniatures hiding amongst the Hydra. What are they? So you're going to want the names of all 3 of them piled into one comment. If your answer is spread across multiple comments, you will not be declared the winner. All of them in one comment. There are 3 miniatures in there. And it's actually not as difficult as you may initially think. Without giving away the answers, have you spotted any already?
Can you blow it up a bit, Andy? I think I recognise one.
Let's try and make it a bit larger then, shall we?
I can see 2. What you saying? There's 3.
It's 3. There you go. Made it bigger for you.
Okay. They're awesome models, by the way. You know those Beast Masters? They're so cool. Yeah.
One of these miniatures that's hidden in there is actually quite devilishly hidden in there, if I do say so myself. It's quite difficult to spot that it's actually not part of the model. Let's see. William, you just answered correctly.
He said the Hellstrom. Now, technically, is that the right terminology? Hellstrom rocket battery, Herdstone, and Stardrake.
I think we'll allow that. So let me just select Mr. Arrow here. And so you can see down here that there is quite clearly a Hellstorm rocket battery poking out from behind that rock. There is quite clearly a hat on one of the Hydra's heads made out of the top of a herdstone. And there is quite clearly, even though it's exactly the same colour scheme as the Hydra's own, what do you even call these fleshy bits here?
Mm-hmm.
But that bit there is actually not from the Hydra, that is from a Stardrake.
Oh, wow.
Skillfully woven in there. But someone managed to spot it, so well done to William. And just to prove it, got the solution right here. So that bit of the Stardrake's wing, top of the herdstone, and Hellstorm rocket battery. So very well done. And it looks like a new champion has emerged from the wreckage. The smouldering ashes of what the hell is that? It was on its knees, and one person out there has taken it upon themselves to pull out the sword from the lake and the stone at the same time and hold it aloft and summon the power of intuition and investigation.
It's brilliant. I think if we ask our personal assistant to send William a gift, there, Mickey, can you send William Matthews a Andy and Remington endorsed product as a prize? Thank you.
Reminds me of the time that we did some random draws to give away some prizes, and we determined which one of us would send the prize to each person. And I think everyone you ended up with was in Australia.
Yeah, it's funny that, wasn't it, Andy?
Yeah, it was a wild series of coincidences that led to that.
Mickey says she will send you, Matthew, one of my shoes. So that's size 10. I hope it fits.
Are you ready for this?
Oh, God.
Are you giving us the live rendition of the Witch Coven theme?
I'm going to try.
Witch Coven, Witch Coven, you're in Witch Coven.
It's really catchy, isn't it? I got to admit. Right, can you hear that?
Yeah.
Oh.
Just remember, no long notes.
That work?
Yes.
Damn it. Witch Coven, Witch Coven, and young Gorin, Witch Coven, Witch Coven, Witch Coven, and young Gorin, Witch Coven. Andy the young Gore is getting down, he's getting down and dirty in Witch Coven. They'll slap him, they'll smack him, they'll sacrifice him, they'll do anything they like in Witch Coven. I said, Witch Coven, I need a young girl in Witch Coven. Remington Steele is the greatest DM on Witch Coven. I like the bit at the end there. I thought that was pretty cool.
It added an extra verse, have you?
Yeah, I think it needed that. I'm going to clap myself because no one else seems to appreciate the level of, just live. Yeah, okay, whatever. Thank you, Skippage. Bravo. Thank you, Cedar Kuru Khan.
Okay, you ready to fly in at breakneck speed to this adventure?
Yes, we've got 10 minutes. Which Coven? Part, I can't remember how to say five in part 5 in French. It doesn't make any sense. This is part 5 of Witch Coven. Andy the Ungor has been transformed into a slave for the Drukai, for he is under the what's the word? He's basically a eunuch, and he's trying to find the location of the Witch Coven so that he can get some magical items, return them back to his beast herd, and save the life of his beast maiden, who is life is on the line because she's going mad because she got involved with an. Oh, it's a long story anyway. Andy is yes, he's under the unicage, is that even a word, of Riga, the Dreadlord. And he has won the Dreadlord's trust because he managed to solve a problem at the court. And that was a puzzle which Andy passed with flying colours. And he's told Riga that he needs to find the Witch Coven. And he's passed a brutal test where he almost jumped out of his skin and revealed to the whole of the dark elf higher echelons of society his true nature, that he was in fact a lowly mindless ungor. But he rolled well. He rolled a 5 or a 6, and he managed to contain the beast within. And as a reward, Riga somewhat suspiciously granted his wish and put him into the capable hands of his lieutenant, whose name is Draclear, who is a Corsair captain. And let's imagine that he has a patch over one eye and his hair looks somewhat like mine. And he's not as good looking as me, maybe, but he's quite vindictive, dark elfy, Corsair looking. He doesn't like Andy, probably sees him as a threat, but he obeys his master and takes Andy on his ship, because you need to take a voyage to find the location of this witch coven. How are you feeling, Andy?
Confident, headstrong, resolute.
It seems like a good time now as you set off on the Sea of Dread to maybe inquire from Dracula anything you can about this fabled witch coven. You want to ask him anything?
Yes, I will approach him and inquire whether the network of their evil spies and their sinister agents spread around various planes have uncovered any information about this witch coven in the past that could be useful.
I did hear of a coven quite a few decades ago. However, it was banned. We've never heard from it since, but I think I know of a place of legend where once uh, these strange things took place. That is all I know. But I must obey my commander, and I will take you there. Meanwhile, do you have your sea legs, eunuch?
Yes.
And at this point, you realize you've never been on the ocean before, and it's somewhat terrifying as the Ungor inside you starts to get a little panicky because you are so far away from the forest, the fields, the dirt, the soil.
Get ready
In
to roll the
fact,
dice.
you might be in danger of soiling yourself. So I think, can Andy the Ungor find his sea legs? Roll the dice. You need to roll high.
It's a 3.
You're somewhat even wobbly on your on your maiden voyage, and you start to almost tremble with fear. And an old sea dog like Draclear can see this a mile off. Eunuch, I see you have not found your sea legs. What do you say we do with him, men? And he looks around at his piratey band of seamen. Why didn't we put him in the lookout up there? That way, he's bound to get used to the sea, for there's nowhere else to go. Do you have any way of getting back at the Mandy, of establishing yourself as a man of the court, a man who should be feared and obeyed, or
How to assert
the
dominance over the crew of pirates.
that could be a good audio book, couldn't it?
Do
Titled.
any of them have peg legs, or hook hands,
Uh,
or eye patches?
yes. There's one who has a peg leg. Yes, he is the guy in charge of the wheel. He doesn't need to walk around too much. There's him.
I would like to grab a rope from the deck, kind of lasso his peg leg, and trip him up comically.
Now, what on earth makes you think you have the skill and dexterity to do this?
It's dice.
You're gonna have to roll really high, mate.
I'm
Give it a
confident.
go. Give it a
Because
go.
I think that if I pull off that feat, I would then have everyone's attention, and then I could make some kind of pronouncement that would be very profound. It's only a 4.
It's only a 4. So they see this eunuch fumbling with this rope, and they all laugh at you and think it must be some kind of joke. Luckily, they didn't take your actions too seriously, and it seems you've won them over, and they ask you to perform some more jokes for them. You got anything else in mind to keep these sea dogs entertained?
As a matter of fact, I do. So I'm going to ask all of them to position themselves around the edge of the deck so that I can perform a comedic dance.
Is it called the 360?
It is not.
Is it maybe the 1 in 100?
Nope.
Oh, that's a shame.
Do they agree?
You know that most beasts actually can do the 1 in 100. My dog does it all the time.
Does it also do the 360?
Not so much, no. Not so much.
Okay, well, Andy the Ungor. Invigorated, confident, I'm going to attempt to perform the never before seen dance move. 720.
720. So what's that? Is that like a cartwheel?
Well, let's roll the dice and find out, shall we?
Okay, let's see what happens. I've no idea.
Okay. I'm going to perform
What happens if you roll?
720 for the pirate crew. It's only a 3.
I think the pirate crew are pretty much over your sort of comedy value. It was funny for like maybe 20, 30 seconds. Riga's completely lost interest, and they just sort of leave you to your own devices. It seems that you've basically bored them away from you. So kind of job done, really, I suppose. So yeah, it looks like you're not going to be fed to the sea in your first voyage, and you've avoided further suspicion.
Excellent.
But you haven't really gained any new knowledge. And a few hours pass, turn into days, and you are treated fairly well, and you maybe learn a few tricks on the boat. And one night, as you're sleeping in your small, what do you call it, hammock, okay, in your cabin, you are visited by Morgwyn the Crone in your dreams. And if you remember, Morgwyn is the one that transformed you into your disguise. And you hear her voice quite clearly. It seems like this is not really a dream. This is her way of communicating with you. Ungor Beastman, how do you like my tricks? You can answer, Andy.
I'm thinking how to answer politely. Your trick did not have the desired effect.
Don't forget our bargain, Beastman.
I do not forget our bargain, but you must hold up your end of the bargain.
Just remember, I see all, and if you betray me, I will betray who you really are at any given moment. Find the witch coven. And with that, you wake up with a sort of a cry, but I'd like to say bray, because you're really an Ungor beast. And you hear another cry. It is the cry from the crow's nest, as it seems like land is spotted. And very soon, the ship docks in a remote island. And it is here that Draclia, the Corsair captain, releases you. This is where you wanted to go, eunuch, and this is as far as we go. We will stock up with supplies here for the next few hours, so you may explore to your heart's content.
I'll make you a deal, pirates. One of you come with me in exchange for 50% of any riches that I uncover.
An interesting proposition, Andy. Well, being as these are dark elf pirates, none of them are going to turn their noses at a potential for gaining something for nothing. And the island looks pretty safe, especially at 6 or 7 o'clock in the morning. You need to roll dice now to see which dark elf corsair you get to go
I'd like
with
to
you.
specify that if they want 50% of the loot, they have to make it back alive as well.
Do they have to make you come back alive too?
Yes.
And that's part of the deal. Okay, just clarify.
It's a 2.
It's a 2. Well, you didn't quite get the best and the bravest and the brightest dark elf corsair to join you, but you did get a sort of young, bright, hopeful, wants to prove himself sea dog to aid you on your quest.
What's his name?
His name is Seeger.
Seeger the Sea Dog. Seeger the
Well,
Eager Sea Dog.
Seeger the eager sea dog. We write that down so we don't forget it. Seeger the eager sea dog. He comes, he joins you. He has a scimitar weapon as well, which could come in handy. And he has some rope. Is there anything else you'd like him to take?
I think I would like to ask him to bring some kind of food. Whatever
He
is
has
left over.
he has some salted shark bass with him.
That will do fine.
Right. You are starting to have a real craving for blood and meat, and you realize you've not really been sating your animalistic hunger. And as soon as you're on this island, you may start to find your animal instincts take over, and you may be forced to hunt for your own food. So it might be wise to find some time away from prying eyes, Andy.
Well,
Anyway,
I'll wait until my companion is asleep.
I see. So you move away from the ship who is resupplying, and you start to wander about half an hour into the island. You make it easily past the sandy beaches and into some rocky, green pasture like fertile lands. And it becomes more and more craggy, more and more bumpy. The weather starts to become a little bit darker. And to keep you company, Tiga asks you if you would like to have a little game.
Kind of little game.
Well, Seeger likes riddles, and he has a riddle that he wants you to answer. And if you answer it right, he might do you a favor. And if you answer it wrong, you will have to do him a favor.
Okay, let's do it. Why not?
Okay. I have a tail, a head, but no legs. I'm probably with you now. What am I?
A tail, a head, but no legs.
What am I?
I'm gonna roll the dice to see what kind of level of intelligence I'm gonna have my answer. So what? I'm gonna go for the obvious answer and just say a snake.
Eunuch, I have outwitted you.
Oh
Now
dear.
you are in bondage to me. The answer is a coin, you fool.
Wow, wow. At which
A
point I will
coin.
reveal that I do not have any coins on me. Therefore, his riddle was flawed.
What kind of a man of a court are you, eunuch? I thought all you high-class Drukai were all about the coin. Or maybe it's just us Pyrus. Either way, you are now in my bondage, and I will command of you one service. Kill Draclia.
Dun dun dun.
And that is where we'll end tonight's episode. Writing down that so I remember for next time.
Kill. What is my intelligence score anyway?
It's something like 2. So, yeah, it's not the best. So that's that. Isn't Witch Coven amazing? Don't you think? It's so entertaining. It's so like not cheesy. There's no like dark clearings anywhere, or you know,
Dimly lit
dimly lit.
locations.
Everyone's just waiting for the moment Andy reaches, if he ever does, the actual Witch Coven. What will he find? What happened?
Or what we'll find.
Hmm.
Well, that's enough spice for one week, I think. So, let's show off the episode thumbnail again. Quite glorious. And I'm thinking that after I've delivered the farewell messages, Mr. Remington might want to play us out with a bit of a goat crab theme. I'll give him a couple of minutes to think up one while I go through the usual ending of the show ritual. So, as I mentioned earlier, the Redbubble store, there's a link in the description. All of the items are discounted because it's nearly Christmas time and everyone out there needs Witch Coven coaster set or a Forest of Rem laptop sleeve, for example. Some of the many fine items available on the Redbubble. Don't forget to check out all the links down there, including Facebook, Discord server, and all that good stuff. And special thanks to be given out now to the patrons who have pledged to the level at which they receive personalised thanks at the end of every episode. So special thanks to the following patrons for being extra spicy and tender and juicy. So extra special thanks to Graham, Tim, John, Eric, Barbara, and Guy. All of you, extra spicy.
You guys are hardcore, man. Hardcore. If anyone's watching, give this a like, please. We've got,
Yes.
dozens of people watch this show, so it's really important that we keep the numbers the same or better. We used to get thousands of views, but something changed.
The thing that changed was that we didn't do shows for about 2 years.
Would
That
that
might
do
have
it?
had something to do with it. And also, we
Okay.
stopped playing the game as well.
That would also do it as well. But
Yeah,
we're
so
still
one of
famous.
those two things I think might have had something to do.
Yeah. But we're still the best, and we're still the oldest, and we're still here, and still alive, and
And
still rocking.
are you gonna provide us with a goat crab theme song on the guitar? So before you do that, I'm going to say to everybody, of course, good night out there. Whatever you.
What do you get when you cross? What do you get when you cross a pig? A pig with a goat. Is it kind of salty? Is it kind of fishy? Is it kind of fleshy? Or is it kind of crusty? No, it's Andy the goat crab. It's Andy the goat crab. What are we gonna do? Don't get mad, it's Andy the goat crab. It's the Andy and Remington Steel Show on your screens tonight. It's the Andy and Remington Steel Show for your home delight. We're talking about Age of Sigmar and anything else that is cool. Talking about Warhammer fantasy, it's easy to learn.